these events as an extension of the journalism that we produce in our daily email newsletter, and they would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. So a huge thank you to Aurora Healthcare, AARP Wisconsin, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Wisconsin, Amplify Health, Hush Blackwell, Quartz, and the Alliance. Wisconsin Health News is an online, nonpartisan news service. In addition to hosting events like these, we also publish a daily email newsletter. If you're not yet a subscriber, I encourage you to sign up for a free trial, which you can do on our website at wisconsinhealthnews.com. And I want to give an extra thanks today to Emplify Health, today's featured sponsor. We are very grateful for all of their very generous and continued support. Here to say a few words today is Adam Hatfield, Director of Media and Communications.
Tim, thank you very much. Hello, panelists, and hello to everybody joining the webinar. Again, my name is Adam Hatfield, Director of Media Communications for Amplify Health. I want to leave as much time for the discussion as possible. I wanted to just share a few words about Amplify Health. We are just beginning this journey to become Amplify Health. As you might have heard, in December 2022, Bellin and Gundersen health systems came together in a merger of equals that really leaned into our legacies and our histories of great care, great patient experience, and community support. So we're using this brand, Amplify Health, to lean into that legacy. This creates a clear path for alignment and allows us to grow, to invest, and to innovate on behalf of our patients and the community partners, and many of you who we work with and live with and partner with on a daily basis. I'm going to put in the chat really quick our new Amplify Health URL, amplifyhealth.org. If you haven't already visited there, please go there to learn more about our story, learn how we're becoming Amplify Health from Bellin and Gundersen, and please share it with your circles too. We want to make sure that we're sharing this new brand broadly, that we're informing people, and really leaning into, again, those histories of great care and experience that people have come to expect from Bellin and Gundersen, and we'll see for years to come at Amplify Health. So we're excited of what we're becoming. We're excited you all are on this journey with us, and I'm grateful for the time today to share more about our brand. Tim, turn it back over to you and the panelists.
Thank you, Adam. And thanks again to Amplify Health for all of the generous support. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Sean to lead today's discussion.
Thanks, Tim. So Wisconsin is seeking to bolster its biohealth and precision medicine industry. Last fall, the state was one of 31 inaugural tech hubs designated by the U.S. Economic Development Agency to help grow the sector. These hubs are now competing for tens of millions of dollars to advance projects. Our panel will take a deep dive into that process and what it entails. To start off, though, I'd like to start with Lisa. Can you tell us a little bit about the state's biohealth industry? What impact does it have on Wisconsin's economy?
Yeah, I think let me start with just explaining a little bit what the biohealth industry is. We started using that term back in 2016. We know states like Minnesota very strong in medical device, and then you look at California, Massachusetts, New Jersey, North Carolina, definitely the hubs of biotechnology. But what differentiates Wisconsin is the strength that we have a long-term history, certainly in biotech, in the biosciences, whether it's API, biologics manufacturing, research reagents, instrumentation, our clinical research organization, a lot of strength. And then our research institutions. We have Medical College on here, as well as our UW-Madison. We have a lot of strength in that bio area, but we also have strength in our state that goes into this health arena. We have Jay Hill from GE Healthcare. We have and Daniel with Accuray in our medical device area. We have diagnostics. We know Exact Sciences and other companies are really starting to grow in this diagnostics area. And then, of course, we have Epic, whether you say digital health, health tech area, and then our outstanding healthcare systems. Nathan with Amplify is on here. That's the health. So combine those together, we are really stressing we are the biohealth center. And it's definitely catching on. It was just at an event today, and the governor is absolutely is pushing biohealth very loudly. And of course, our tech hub is called the Wisconsin Biohealth Tech Hub. Just a little bit about our stats then and why we could go after this tech hub. It was very clear from the EDA, you could not be a nascent industry. You had to have foundational strength. Well, then you better prove it to by the numbers. How do you have strength from the biohealth industry in the state of Wisconsin? So every 2 years, BioForward Wisconsin does an economic impact report. Our last report that came out showed that we have 52,000 jobs coming out of this industry. And that is a growth from just like about 9 years of over 16,000 jobs, 32 billion economic impact. We have a multiplier effect of 2.5, meaning for every one job in our industry, another 1.5 jobs are created. A lot of that's happening because this is a manufacturing industry, especially our device companies like the Accuray, GE Healthcare, the whole supply chain coming in from Wisconsin all over the state. Those jobs are getting created because of our manufacturing presence, just both in our industry and the supply chain. So we do really have a lot of impact on the state of Wisconsin, and that hopefully will continue to grow and even grow more through this tech hub.
So Lisa, last year, a consortium of 15 private and public groups pursued this regional tech hub designation. Can you talk a little bit about what is the significance of this and why is it important?
Yeah, I think what's great, I'm proud of the United States for recognizing this through the CHIPS and Science Act, that we all went through it with issues with supply chain, and also where the United States was so dependent upon other countries. And really the basis of this is how do we make the US more competitive in the years to come and protecting national and economic security. So we applied for this, the notice of funding that came out last summer, again, through this CHIPS and Science Act, to create these national tech hubs to really go after that mission of the United States, protecting security, being more competitive. There were 192 applications. As you stated, 31 were selected. We were one of them. And then we found out that we were selected at the end of October, and we didn't get any money in the phase one. It's all with phase two is where all the funding comes forth. So you have several people here that are in the consortium. We all came together to put these projects together, and I'll let them talk more about that. But it is very project-based with this phase two application, and we should be hearing this summer whether we will be selected. It sounds like there'll be anywhere from 5 to 12, 5 to 10 that are going to be selected. And it's important because it really is demonstrating to the nation what we already know here, what our numbers are saying. It's really telling everyone else and globally, look at the strength that we have here in Wisconsin to really propel us forward. And also, again, that the US is depending on our tech hub, the Wisconsin Biohealth Tech Hub, to really meet the mission that they've set out. And others on the panel may want to add some extra comments to that.
Yeah, I'd like to follow on to what Lisa said. I mean, I think there's two things that the designation itself. So you just sort of double click on the designation of the tech hub. There's two things that I think come right from that. One is that it's a fair recognition of the strength of this region, right? I mean, we talked about earlier, the inventory. We have two of the leading academic research teams here with MCW and University of Wisconsin-Madison. We have industry leaders in multiple fields, whether it's imaging or radiation therapy, software for electronic medical records management with Epic, and Exact Sciences, and many folks in the molecular and genetic diagnostics world. And it's just, I think it's a huge vote of confidence in the region, and we should all be proud of that. It also provided the motivation for us to talk to each other more, to cut across some of those silos and not sort of stick to our swim lanes, but reach out to figure out how can we collaborate more to grow the sector even more in the region, to really be that source of innovation for the whole country.
Got it. I just had one sort of quick follow-up for Lisa. In terms of the application process right now, I believe BioForward is the main applicant on that. Can you talk about what you've heard so far, and where are we in this process? You mentioned that you'd hear something this summer. Where have there been site visits? What's all been entailed in this?
Yeah, so we are the lead consortium member, but obviously the whole consortium is critically important, but they needed some lead. And also as the lead consortium member, there was a requirement by the EDA to hire a regional innovation officer. So BioForward hired that person. It is Wendy Harris, a former GE healthcare executive, worked with Jay very closely for many years, and she is unbelievable. So our state is very fortunate, great leader, great organizer. And so she's been in direct contact, certainly with EDA. They are keeping the RIOs, as they're called, close, keeping them updated. We have had a virtual session with the EDA, and they have given us questions to answer, so we have responded to those. Again, that was several weeks ago. More sessions will be coming up with them. And then they are being very careful about when they will actually make the final announcement. They will not say anything but summer 2024. Wendy's tried, and you just can't get anything more than that out of them. And we've tried legislators. They will not tell them anything either. So, we're just waiting, and it's understandable. We want them to take their time. All these other tech hubs put in a lot of effort, as we did. So now it's just wait and see, but we are very hopeful. We think we put in a very high quality application. And I just want to also just expand upon what Jay said. This was a lot of collaboration, and you're seeing people on here, and Nathan, even though Emplify isn't currently in the consortium, I think what was really fun about this was just all of us connecting throughout the state. And I think Nathan can speak to this. It's about collaboration. And I think Wisconsin has really proven they can do this as well as anyone. And we saw it even in legislation that was passed, rapid legislation that you just don't even see it, bipartisan legislation of this state coming together, having the assembly vote 96-0, the Senate 31-1 to pass 7.5 million in matching funds. That's it. That's a testament to collaboration, even on a legislative level, that you don't see in purple states. Other states will brag about some of the money, but they're either just one party run, and Wisconsin came together. And I give credit to people like a Nathan that are stepping forward throughout the state that are really trying to say, let's all come together behind this tech hub.
Got it. Going on to some, going on to some consortium members. Mara, can you talk about what your organization is playing, what role it's playing in this consortium, and how did MCW get involved?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the Medical College of Wisconsin, we are very proud to also be part of this. We call it the imaging corridor that exists in Wisconsin between Milwaukee and Madison, and I mean across the state, but definitely this corridor here, and in engaging partners like GE Healthcare, but many others as well in personalized medicine like Exact Sciences, et cetera. So we have a very strong imaging base. We also have a very strong group that works on really building health equity across our communities and across the state of Wisconsin. And so the Medical College of Wisconsin is leading a key project called CareScan. And CareScan is really built to be a game changer for how healthcare is delivered. Local, mobile, accessible, and equitable. And CareScan packages together existing screening and imaging modalities and brings care to people's doorsteps. And this is done in smaller modalities today. You can think about mammography vans. Those are maybe the best, most familiar example for people. But the difference is for CareScan, all of FDA approved cancer screening will take place in a single fleet. And many communities don't have that kind of capability. People have to travel an hour or more to be screened. So CareScan personalizes medicine, not just delivers personalized medicine, but personalizes medicine by complementing what exists in the health systems around the state. And it creates a novel mobile medical model for clinical trials as well. The CareScan fleet can be configured to meet innovators' needs to test products or processes with populations who may be out of reach. So the project that the Medical College of Wisconsin is leading is about building trust, building a model that brings healthcare to people's doorsteps and creates a model that we not only can build in Wisconsin, but we can scale nationally. And then MCW, UW-Madison, and all of our industry and other partners are really building toward a really incredible data infrastructure that brings the missingness of data into a comprehensive data hub. So innovators can leverage that data hub. They can leverage those data to test their products and processes, and that will include diverse populations from across the state of Wisconsin. And eventually, again, we can scale that nationally. So lots of different components here and partnerships that have existed. And Medical College is really proud to be a part of it.
So Mara, you mentioned some of these partnerships that have kind of developed. Can you elaborate a little bit more? I mean, what sort of statewide collaborations have come about because of this work?
I think Lisa mentioned it earlier. This opportunity has really united Wisconsin's leaders, our bipartisan government officials, our top academic medical center and clinical institutions, technical colleges, top labor and workforce organizations, and all to address economic and technology challenges. And we've really built an ecosystem of collaboration. And I would say, I think it's existed in pockets, but now we have this network of these different types of organizations that may have talked with each other about specific projects, but today are able to, I would say, move at the speed of trust, frankly, to get things done and to innovate. And I mean, you see the consortium members here who are part of this. I mean, we can name a number of different industry partners as well, all in biohealth sector. But I think it's really important to also elevate that technical colleges play such a significant role in this work, because we're talking about increasing the number of jobs for Wisconsin. And we're not talking only about jobs that require a bachelor's or a master's or frankly, a doctoral degree. We're talking about jobs that people can access, they can be trained in, they can access, and we can create a diverse and sustained workforce that is, I mean, we're talking about growing indirect workforce of 110,000 in the state and about 30 to 40,000 of direct jobs as a result of this. So those collaborations have come together in really unique ways. You wouldn't always have technical colleges and academic medical centers talking to each other, or industry partners, et cetera, talking to each other. So it's been a pretty unique and very rapid process that the EDA has inspired, I would say.
Thanks, Mara. Jay, can you talk a little bit about GE Healthcare's involvement here? How did it become involved with the consortium? What are its efforts in it?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we were there in the very beginning. Our CEO, Pete Arduini, talking to the folks at MCW and UW-Madison and with Lisa, but we kind of saw this vision early on, and we bought into this idea of the corridor that Mara mentioned. We have this gem of capability, but how do we build off of that? So we've been there since the beginning, supporting different projects, supporting the overall effort. When you get into the projects that were proposed that Mara discussed, we've been helping to steer some of the discussions to what the outcomes should be and what should we aspire to in these projects. We're supporting the CareScan screening project, and we're taking the lead on a project that brings together the information that follows a patient through their journey in specific area of oncology that's emerging called theranostics, bringing clinical decision support, guidelines, some of the characterization of progress that they're making in order to help clinicians make better decisions. We will deploy that in the MCW and the UW-Madison system, and we're considering how we could deploy that even further. The goal of that is to help clinicians get patients through treatment more effectively, faster, to get, if you think about the data consortium that Mara talked about, the CareScan screening effort, and then this one, they all fit together in finding patients who need help, getting them into the system quickly, and then moving them through the system quickly so that they get healthy faster. So we're excited about that because it allows us to test out some ideas that we have with digital health. We also think it's the right thing to do to help the system be more efficient and more effective at bringing healthcare to patients. And then if you step back, this becomes a platform for helping with clinical trials. The pieces that we've assembled here become a way to attract entrepreneurs to the state to develop new solutions. And frankly, we benefit from that too. The more we are surrounded by innovators, the easier it is for us to find great ideas, and then we bring them to market.
Thanks, Jay. Daniel, can you talk a little bit about Accuray's involvement here? How did you all decide to join up with this effort, and what is its significance?
Sure. So for Accuray, we focus on oncology, taking care of people with cancer. And what we saw with the Tech Hub is really building on Wisconsin's strengths, leading positions in imaging, leading positions in genomics with Exact Sciences, and in Accuray as one of the only US-based manufacturers for radiation therapy equipment. And so those were our foundation. And what we put together for the themes of the Tech Hub and the projects was invent, build, and deploy. And so we've already know our leadership with UW Medical College of Wisconsin. We create IP that solves healthcare problems. We build things here. GE Healthcare manufacturers, Accuray manufactures here, and actually moved our headquarters here for access to talent. There's the supply chain with Plexus, Rockwell Automation, and really through the Tech Hub, I learned more and more about all the different manufacturing that's going on up in Green Bay, Hudson. Our state builds things, and we're going to apply that to solving the greatest healthcare challenges that we have today, which for us it's oncology. We're focused on cancer, and to leverage the technology and the ability to build things here in Wisconsin. And we combine that then with clinical deployment, and Jay and Mara have talked about this, but that care scan really is how people start to engage in the healthcare system. This is how we see the need and how we get people to the right care and therapy that they require. But on the other part is the image-guided therapy and care pathways. This really is about matching people with the right treatment. How do you accelerate them through that flow so they get the right technology and really and the best treatment? And some technologies require this integration. Some things will not exist except for the fact that we can have the right patient populations and the right mixture of diagnostics and therapy put together so we can really create new solutions for healthcare.
Thanks, Daniel. Nathan, the consortium partners are mostly in Southeast and South Central Wisconsin. Emplify Health is in Southwestern Wisconsin up to Northeast Wisconsin. You testified at legislative hearing this year for that bill that Lisa and Mara have talked about to get a state matching grant for these federal dollars. Can you talk about Amplify's Health's interest in this? Like, why are you all kind of coming out here to support this effort?
I think, well, I'd start with a couple things. First, at Amplify Health, we like to think bigger, beyond our walls, even beyond our own communities. And I want to give a lot of credit to Lisa as leading the consortium and the consortium itself, because they took the show on the road and they came outstate to talk to folks like Amplify Health and other stakeholders to find ways how can the consortium interact with the rest of the state. Because I don't think anybody would argue, the corridor is the corridor. The University of Wisconsin, MCW, the major stakeholders in the biohealth industry are in that corridor, and they probably always will be. But I think it's appropriate, and I'm glad the consortium recognized this, that a program, from the federal government designed to get dollars away from the coasts and into middle America should also practice kind of the same thing within the state and look for opportunities to draw the rest of the state into that. Especially when you look at it from the perspective of the way most people experience the biohealth industry is on the ground in their hospital, in their clinic with their providers. That's where they sit down and go through their Epic chart. That's where they're talking to their doctor about a follow-up of a new test that Exact Sciences has put out, or going over imagery, that has been produced by one of the major stakeholders. So that, from the perspective of the patient and where these technologies will deploy, hospitals need to be involved in this, even if it's just from the perspective that this is good for the state. And from Amplify's perspective, as a population health organization, we see this as, and serving mostly rural areas, and I think Mara mentioned health equity. When you start talking about providing healthcare in rural areas, that means we have to provide healthcare more efficiently and more effectively. And that means advances in technology, innovation in testing, in virtual care, in imagery, in the reading of that imagery, whatever the innovation may be, we need to turn every stone to try to control the financial impact of healthcare on our patients and continue to be able to serve those communities. And that's going to require innovation. Somebody far smarter than I heard say the other day that healthcare is no longer a place, it's a function. And in rural America, it may be no more true than that than it is in rural America. We need to be able, in order to serve our communities and our patients, it's going to mean serving them where they're at, not necessarily where we're at. And that's going to require the advancement of technologies like these.
All right, thanks, Nathan. Mara, just kind of looking back on the overall direction of this application, can you kind of lay out some of the main goals for this phase 2 funding?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we want for Wisconsin to succeed and to lead in the data-driven personalized medicine field. We want Wisconsin to succeed and to lead. Daniel mentioned this earlier. We'll create a virtuous cycle of economic growth using the invent, build, deploy model, which is really reimagining the usual narrow focus of innovation-only efforts. So this becomes a whole virtuous cycle that we're building here. We've also mentioned, but we'll reiterate that data is the economic infrastructure of this century, and diverse healthcare data is just so critical to developing new technologies and to running clinical trials and to effective commercialization. And as Nathan just said, it's critical to serve populations from all backgrounds and all communities. So we'll create an infrastructure where that continuous flow of data reinforces and strengthens our technology cycle and really creates a multiplier effect. And then again, as we mentioned, it's imperative that the tech hub stimulates job growth. And we are expecting that Wisconsin's personalized medicine sector will grow by about 30,000 direct jobs and about 111,000 indirect jobs, all attributable to the tech hub's effort over the next 10 years. So, and as I said earlier, more than half of those jobs are expected to not necessarily require a bachelor's degree. So we're thinking innovatively about how we grow our workforce and stimulate job growth across all populations as well. So those are really the key, the primary goals of the tech hub.
And when it comes to
Can I add to that, Sean?
Oh, of course, go ahead.
I just wanted to build off of that and connect it with the population health concept, because so often population health, as it should be, is thought about in the context of social determinants of health and improving some of those core functions for patients. But it also is an economic concept, and having the ability to improve the economic standing of the state and job growth that will happen certainly within the corridor and mainly focus in the corridor, but as these efforts and technologies spread out to other organizations across the state, you're going to see that economic element grow. And there's also the benefit to healthcare providers like Emplify and other hospitals and healthcare systems that creating, improving and elevating Wisconsin's image as a core biohealth state will make it easier to draw talent to this state, whether that is a researcher who's going to go to work for one of the tech hub's main stakeholders, or it's a pediatrician who's just Wisconsin and La Crosse, Wisconsin, or Green Bay, Wisconsin has been put on their radar by the existence of the tech hub. So that improves, a workforce issue that has been a core discussion point across industries in this state for a long time. And as has been pointed out by Lisa and by Mara, the economic impact of these jobs beyond the tech hub within the healthcare sector itself, and then within the broader biohealth and biomed industries, will only grow to improve Wisconsin's standing with people looking for those sorts of jobs.
Hey, Sean, can I also then build upon this as well? So one more aspect, goals, is taking early stage companies and really advancing them through the pathway to success. That is another project. That one is being led by BioForward. And it was a key to the notice of funding out of the federal government. Again, they want to be competitive, long-term competitiveness. That means you've got to get innovation to the market. So this program will not fund research. They made it clear we couldn't even use the term research in any of our narratives. Never say the word. That's NIH, then that's NSF. Tell us how you're going to help these early stage companies go along this pathway. And that's how we connect with these data projects too. That's one of the barriers for young companies, that they don't have access to that data, or they have to pay astronomical sums of money, this capital that they don't have, that they're trying to raise. And so we are really taking this Tech Hub and trying to invest in those early stage companies that really fit within this biohealth, personalized medicine space, and assisting them either through one pathway is through Forward Biolabs, a highly successful shared lab space in Madison that is going to be expanded, setting up the pilot in Milwaukee. It has had great success so far, and we think just with another boost will even provide more opportunities for young companies, as well as another program that will help assist these entrepreneurs with HIPAA and regulatory compliance, patents. It could be getting an executive team set up. So just trying to step in early and help finance and supporting. This is not, again, and Nathan, we were just talking about that as he was saying, the corridor, yes, we have this corridor in Madison, Milwaukee, but this is happening all over the state. And especially what Amplify is doing is they're investing in health services innovation. And how can we connect throughout the state, be this team of teams on this innovation front to invest in those early stage companies and bring that innovation more rapidly to market? So that is also a project that we do have under this Tech Hub, that our goals then are to assist 75 to 85 companies in the next 5 years during the time frame if we get phase 2, as well as looking at hopefully these companies then will put them in a better position to raise the necessary capital to keep their growth going, of anywhere from $500 to $750 million. We're looking at that to support them in those efforts.
Thanks, Lisa. Daniel, could you maybe weigh in a little bit if the state, gets this second phase funding? Like, what will that mean for Accuray, and how will that impact your work?
I think for Accuray, we are very much interested in creating practical clinical solutions. So we are the project being the data hub to really understand the patient's needs, how they're encountering the health system, how do they get to the next layer of diagnostics and therapy to meet their needs. That's what we'll be focused on, is understanding not just the technology, but the clinical care pathway and the workflow that leads them to that next step. And we talk about, Nathan brought up the rural aspect, but Wisconsin really is very representative of the country in that we have elite medical centers in our cities, the Medical College of Wisconsin, UW, but most people are starting off at their primary care physician. And how do they get referred to the right tests, the right diagnostics, so that they can then be referred to the right care, and how do they navigate that path as quickly as possible? So those are really healthcare solutions. We can have great technology, but the people have to be able to find that technology, and the doctors have to be able to look at the patient data and understand what the significance of those data points, and then get them to the right next step. And that's really the challenge of personalized medicine, navigating all of this data, not just to create products, but then to really match patients with the right care.
Thanks, Daniel. Jay, can you weigh in a little bit? I mean, how do the goals of this second phase align with GE Healthcare's?
They're almost as if they were written into our strategy. I mean, very pragmatically, we succeed when our customers succeed, and our customers are Amplify, they are MCW and Freighter. We're supposed to help them solve some of the toughest challenges. And in the past, that used to be the most powerful diagnostic capability, or to be aligned with the most important therapies and monitor those. That's still part of it. But the cost dimension is enormous, right? And when you talk about like the problems that Nathan described, how do you serve a very, very distributed rural customer base, patient base, and bring state-of-the-art care to people that are in very small communities, very far from an academic center? How do you do that? How do you do that in a dense urban environment where there may be a lack of healthcare coverage for some of those folks, or they don't have the ability to take a lot of time out of work. Those are tough problems. So, we solve the technical challenges of better diagnostic equipment, like eating breakfast. That's what we do. But the problems we need to solve for our customers and for their patients are these problems of access, economic efficiency. And frankly, EDA thought about this, right? When you look at the notice of funding opportunity and some of the things they wove into it, they talked about national security. And healthcare security affects national security. So we care about all these things because this is how we grow and we succeed as a business, and how we're able to deliver solutions that our customers actually care about.
Got it. So Jay, just sticking with you for a second, can you talk about what advancements you expect to come from this in terms of personalized medicine? I mean, how is this going to impact the delivery of healthcare?
Yeah. So I like to use the phrase that personalized medicine is integrative medicine. And the more that we can bring together the inputs from different populations, the different inputs from different diagnostic tests, molecular, genetic, imaging, and bring those together to paint a better picture of what's happening with disease. And the better we can monitor the response of patients to those treatments and adjust those treatments, then I think the more that we can help them, and that's personalized medicine, right? And we picked oncology for a very specific reason. It is one of those disease areas where there is so much uniqueness to the patient and their genetic makeup and their history, the disease and the genetic makeup of the tumor that they're afflicted with. And the therapies all have different responses based on those things. So great technical problem, but also a big healthcare problem. And that's why we're interested in this. We want to be able to solve that. That's a personalized medicine problem. So back to the projects, right? Bringing all that data together and identifying people who are at risk, doing the screening so that we can find the individuals who are at risk, and then tracking them very closely, monitoring and adjusting their therapies as they go through their journey. End-to-end precision medicine. That's why we really care about those aspects, and that's why we're interested. And then, as Lisa said, on top of that, you bring in innovators with new ideas, help them get started, bring a workforce in that's able to do that. Now you have an ecosystem. You have an economic environment that allows us to build off of those successes.
Got it. Jay, this was an audience question that kind of came in a little bit ago, but can you talk a little bit, I mean, what key challenges need to be addressed to enhance the economic viability of personalized and precision medicine in Wisconsin?
Yeah, so we talked about access a little earlier. I think there's another one, which is earlier stage identification. We know that generally treatments are more effective when they're applied earlier. And so an earlier intervention should reduce some of the long-term complications in extended care, keeping people out of acute care, keeping them out of late-stage cancer care, and trying to get them healthy and back into the workforce earlier is a big part of it. And the precision involved in this is really the multifactorial inputs to the diagnostic pathway, and then very close monitoring of treatment response and adjusting the treatment. And I think those are the key things that we think are successful. Now, there's an economic impact. If we do all of those better, then people come through the system with lower overall cost. That's our theory, at least. And that's going to help, that's a virtuous cycle in its own, enabling more people to get through the system and succeed.
Thanks, Jay. Daniel, could you weigh in a little bit on this? I mean, what kind of advancements do you expect to come from this hub in terms of the impact of personalized medicine in the state?
Yeah, and to build on what Jay's saying, particularly in oncology, it's not about one product or one technology or one test. It really is built on collaboration. It requires a lot of different tests, a lot of different diagnostics, different therapies. So radiation therapy is one of the more common cancer treatments. But when we talk about image-guided therapy, there's a whole world of new, more personalized things that work for smaller populations. And so you need to be able to find who does that new therapy benefit? How do you get them to that point of treatment? And really those solutions, where we are in the development of medicine and technology, requires this sort of collaboration. I think even just the consortium itself and these companies talking together, working with the academic institutions, that's what Wisconsin brings to this healthcare problem, is the ability to work across these companies to pair the right test with the right therapy, and then also to do if they picture like an orchestra, the different therapies that make the biggest impact for a particular patient. And that's going to require a lot of data, but also requires this collaboration that we have here in Wisconsin.
Thanks, Daniel. Nathan, can you weigh in a little bit on this? I mean, how is personalized medicine working with Amplify? I mean, what is Amplify Health doing around personalized medicine? How could this hub affect that and kind of address some of these rural disparities?
Yeah, that's a good question. And again, where the rubber meets the road. So Amplify Health has an innovation arm called Edge. And one of the components of that is Ed Ventures, which is essentially a venture capital investment arm. Where we see the personalized happening is, in an example, I'll give one of the early investments we made was with an organization called Gene Matters, which provides virtual genetic counseling services. Genetic counselors are in huge demand, especially as technology advances. It interweaves a lot with more advanced treatments, when you can have a better understanding of people's dispositions for certain conditions. And because of that, we as an organization that had genetic counseling services, we had patient wait sometimes of up to 10 months. Working with Gene Matters, and again, as a venture capital element, Edge Ventures only works with organizations that can operationalize something that is line of sight for us. So we're not investing in car dealerships here. We're investing in things that will help provide revenue to our organization so that we can continue to serve the patient base that we have, but also that we can use within our walls. So when we partner with somebody, it is because we can see it improving our patients' lives. And so Gene Matters, working with them, they took that virtual care down to 7 days. And then from an investment standpoint, it was a terrific organization to work with. And I mentioned population health before. When it comes to other investments we've taken part in to personalize things, our population health team is tremendous, and they're working with our communities to help improve people's diets, increase their wellness, increase their activities. But on some level, we're also dealing with the conditions on the ground, which right now means things like kidney disease are increasingly pervasive across our population. So what are long-term fixes to that? And that means also engaging in partnerships with organizations that are looking for long-term treatments to kidney disease that are very cutting edge and recognizes the reality that we have, and we're going to have for a long time, a population that's going to have increased numbers of that condition. So it's trying to work towards prevention in a current state, but also recognizing that some patients are already gone down that path, and how do we help them continue to live their best lives, even if they have conditions that right now we can't go back and fix, but we can help them in the state they're in right now.
Thanks, Nathan. Mara, when it comes to recruiting talent and workforce, regardless of whether or not the state gets this additional funding, what efforts are underway to find the workers needed to continue growing this industry?
I'm going to go right to an area where we just have a chronic gap, and that is rad tech. So radiology technicians, individuals who can really supplement and are the backbone of the imaging work that we do, that UW-Madison does, that GE Healthcare does. And there's a chronic shortage right now, and it's only expected to grow. especially as new screening tests come on the market, such as the multi-cancer early detection test that Exact Sciences is working on right now. You need to be able to screen individuals and then move them through that care pathway into imaging, and you need the workers to support that. So we're looking at how do we partner to grow that workforce? How do we partner with the technical colleges? How do we partner with Employ Milwaukee, with other workforce-based organizations that are looking for talent? How do we grow our own in many ways? Can we partner with GE and partner with Exact and partner with Accuray, others to grow talent? So recruitment is one bottleneck, but actually having the talent to recruit is another bottleneck that we have to address. So RadTech is an example. We can talk about healthcare workforce shortages too, and I mean that plays yet another compounding role here. And I think Wisconsin, we have some innovative ways of thinking about that. Now that we have these partnerships that are established, we have greater opportunity to fill those gaps, rather than whether it's healthcare industry or manufacturing industry doing it alone. So it's something we're all facing.
Thanks, Mara. So Lisa, this is a very competitive process. There's 31 tech hubs. There's a handful will get funding for this. What kind of happens to this work if the federal government doesn't support Wisconsin's application for additional dollars? Do you see more things coming from it, or kind of what are the next steps in that case?
Yeah, I think what's been great about this is just the collaborations that we've already set in place. We put so many of these things in motion now that I think we definitely will. I mean, we have been designated a tech hub. That's not going away. And there is a whole allocation still sitting out there with the federal government. It's just the first wave of that money coming through for this initial launch of the tech hub. So I think as a group, we would certainly regroup once again and say, okay, when the next phase comes out, let's go for that. But I think for all these projects, we've already put so much effort into it, and also the collaboration that has been put in motion. And as Nathan and I keep going back and forth, I mean, it's been great. It's like if you find these new partnerships that you haven't had in the past, we'll find ways to keep this momentum going. The BioForward continue to invest. All these entities that are on here are going to continue to invest. And we'll just look for other opportunities to help fund things. And again, I think the federal government will come through. I think the state, again, they've already done it. Again, we won't get that 7.5 million unless we get the EDA funding, but that doesn't mean there isn't something in the future. But we're all staying positive. We think Wisconsin's going to win. We think we're going to get it. I'm not thinking that we won't. I just can't do it. But I think we will put some work in place and get with the whole consortium and really go, okay, what are going to be some of our next steps? But I think you'll see a lot of this just going forward because it's important. The work we've done and things that they were already investing in from these companies, we're not going to stop. And the biohealth industry, the government didn't create this. We did. We built this. I mean, that's what we use that term build. Not only are we manufacturing, we just build things. We didn't have the government build this for us. We built it. And that's a credit to Wisconsin. And it's really now we're going, hey, let's go after this because we know we can support what the US government wants to do. And that's to protect the national and economic security and make this nation more competitive in the future. And we know we can play a major role in that. We have those assets. So we aren't going to go away. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep fighting if we don't, but we are. We're going to get B1.
Yeah, Sean, I mean, Sean, we asked ourselves the same question, right? The day after we submitted the proposal, we said, okay, well, what if? And look, we're all very optimistic. I continue to be very optimistic that something will come through on the funding side. But we also had sort of that collective realization that there's something here. There's more here than we've been exercising in the past. And I can tell you that we started picking up the phone and picking up email and talking to each other about collaborative opportunities that we just weren't thinking about before. And we see external interest in coming to the state. We see entrepreneurs interested in coming to the state. And Daniel's organization put their headquarters in Madison. I mean, there's already some momentum, and then amongst all of us, we just see the opportunity that's there. So we're already asking, what can we do, grant or no grant?
So Jay, sticking with you for a second, part of this process is the federal government expects the recipient in a second phase, to be a global tech hub within a decade. And can you talk a little bit, what will it take to achieve that?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things we should recognize is when it comes to imaging and medical physics, we are a global tech hub. And when it comes to many areas of molecular and genetic diagnostics and electronic medical records, this is the place to go. But I think breaking down those barriers between different specialties and different interests to create personalized medicine that reaches across all the different disciplines, that's going to be a key thing to success here. If the idea is this morphs into a global tech hub for personalized medicine, then I think we have to break down some of those barriers, make those connections, and then I think we need to build this flywheel, the economic engine that Mara and Lisa both talked about, where new companies come into the area, they build their portfolio of solutions here, and they launch them. I think those two things will be essential to being able to achieve the personalized medicine vision.
Thanks, Jay.
Can I add to that? So
Yes,
just
of
to
course.
emphasize that the entrepreneurial opportunity in Wisconsin is so immense. And we have the assets, we have the infrastructure. We have to believe in ourselves. And, as Lisa said earlier, bringing forward biolabs, expanding what exists already in forward biolabs, expanding that entrepreneurial spirit, not only the spirit, but really providing the structure for entrepreneurs to fly, is something that Wisconsin, I think we believe in it definitely in pockets, but we need the rest of the nation to know it. And I truly believe that within 10 years, we will become the entrepreneurial hub, because innovation can happen fast here, and it can happen collaboratively and with, Wisconsin kindness behind it. And so I just want to emphasize entrepreneurialism is it is ready to rock and roll here.
Thanks, Mara.
Because we were briefly talking about this before everybody came on to our webinar. Today, Wisconsin WDC and the governor was at the event. The Wisconsin Investment Fund was just launched. 50 million from the state and now 50 million from various venture funds across the state are putting money in it. So $100 million fund. So this is what Mara's talking about. So this is now even helping on that capital to give that extra boost. So we're doing the right things here. We're putting, money and energy behind all this. And that was certainly separate from the tech hub, but now it fills in. It just flows right into this perfectly. So I think what we're demonstrating to the U.S. government, we're ready. I mean, we're here. You just haven't heard us enough. But we're telling you now. And that's another big part. They said for you to be a global tech hub, you have to be able to market yourselves. And that's what we're doing. And I think if you go and look at a lot of the other tech hubs, I think you will see Wisconsin is being very aggressive on the marketing front all over. We are going all over the place talking about Wisconsin and our designation as this tech hub. So I think that's another thing that very proud of, that we believe in ourselves and it's easy to market this success and what we can be in the future.
Thanks, Lisa. Daniel, can you weigh in a little bit? What's it going to take for Wisconsin to become a global tech hub within a decade?
Yeah, and I think Accuray, it is the story. Even before the federal investment, Accuray chose to move its headquarters here to Wisconsin, and that's because we understand it's a hidden gem. But really, for a company that had its roots in UWIP and tomotherapy, this became the place to manufacture cutting-edge radiation therapy equipment, building on the supply chain that GE Healthcare established. That discipline of, medical devices are a bit different in that they're highly regulated. They're very complex, high technology, but it's integration of different manufacturing and electronic specialties. For us, it was, we have leadership in software engineering, and that's a lot of our complexity now is in software development. And now with the tech hub investment and with the growth of industry here, we hope to keep the software people that we graduate here in Wisconsin. And we've already have that, we have Epic Digital Health has always been part of that, but really this is the outcome of Wisconsin's existing strengths. And Accuray made this as a business decision to plant here and grow our manufacturing here, our R&D here, our manufacturing. And so we look forward to other companies discovering those things and expanding with that foundation.
Thanks, Daniel. Nathan, do you want to weigh in on this? I mean, what are health systems' roles in helping the state develop as a tech hub?
I think I'd go back to the on the ground, being that line of sight when it comes to giving venture industries and new innovations access to a mature industry partner. I mentioned that with some of the ventures that we've pursued. A lot of the trouble that is faced in a venture industry is getting access to an organization like Emplify that has hundreds of thousands of patients, and then being able to create that model that helps them with their proof of concept. And I think from a standpoint as well, I'll go back to one of our initial narratives is it will ideally always be I shouldn't say ideally, but it will most likely always be connected to the corridor. But how do we spread that throughout the state? The whole state is a resource for this opportunity, and to really become a global hub, we're going to have to take advantage of everybody who's interested to be involved, and every corner of the state. The advanced manufacturing exists across the state. We've got a hardworking, highly skilled workforce. Mara mentioned the technical college system. We have great technical colleges across the state, and just about every community of any size either has a main college or one of their satellite locations. To really succeed, we'll have to take advantage of every one of those opportunities.
So thank you, Nathan. And we're almost kind of running out of time here. I did have one audience question that I think is a good concluding one. It's what is one thing business and community leaders can do to further position Wisconsin as a leader in biohealth and precision medicine? Wanted to may have all the panelists weigh in on this. So Jay, why don't we start with you? What is one thing that you think business and community leaders can do?
Oh gosh, I mean, I'd like to have something inspirational like believe, which I think we've kind of talked about. We should all believe in the capability of the state, but I think it's get engaged in find a specific problem that hasn't been solved and reach out to somebody in an unrelated, well, in an adjacent discipline, and then figure out how to start working on that, right? How to tackle that problem in a way that the Amplifies and the MCWs of the world really can apply to their patients.
Thanks, Jay. Mara, what do you think?
I'm going to go the community route and talk about equity. I think that we can do a lot together if we think through an equity lens, and that isn't just talking about what health equity means, but it's really thinking about how our actions make a difference, and how we can solve health equity through places or opportunities like this. But small actions make a difference.
Thanks, Mara. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
I think for Wisconsin, it's about start from our strengths, recognize what we're really good at, and we really do have something to offer the world in terms of solving unmet needs for patients, and that's really combine the different pieces here that we're combining the consortiums. It's to solve these unmet clinical challenges, to meet the needs of people that are today being met.
Thanks, Daniel. Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this will probably sound a little weird, but I think it's okay for business leaders, community leaders to be a little selfish in this space. But because you can see how the industry is going to help you, those more effective tests, better virtual care, that's going to get your community members, your employees back to work faster. It's going to help keep your costs down when you have more effective, more efficient healthcare delivery. And so get involved from that perspective. You're not helping another industry. The end game here is that the patients we serve, the patients that these technologies and innovations serve, are the people who work in your business, or the people you join your volunteer community organizations with. They're your neighbors or your family. This is about improving the lives of people, and it will improve the economy, which always helps every business. Putting more money in somebody's pocket will put more money in your pocket.
Thanks, Nathan. Lisa, we'll give you the final word.
Yeah, just fine. I'll take it more from a marketing. Make sure you're going on BioForward's website. We have a Tech Hub page, and we're enhancing our website all summer. Because when I think of engagement, just making sure you know what's going on with this Tech Hub and the biohealth industry. We have ways that you can reach out to us. I see a lot of manufacturers that are going to have great opportunities within this Tech Hub. We have, again, the precision manufacturers all over the state, and just finding ways. It's us getting those partnerships going, so we're understanding what's happening all over this state, to strengthen us and to uplift this whole Tech Hub. So I'm going to take it more from that kind of marketing angle, but really be watching what we have on the BioForward website. And we are certainly looking to partner statewide with so many partners. So I guess that would be what I'd end with.
Well, thank you all so much for participating in this panel. It was a really great topic to cover. Our next panel is going to be in Milwaukee in person. It's going to be with the Milwaukee Health Commissioner. So once again, thanks to all the panelists, and have a great day.
Yeah,
Having us.
thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Bye.